She asked earlier in the week what my talk was going to be about, and at that time I had a few points I wanted to make and some quotes, and I sent them off to her. And then today she told me, asked me for a little clarity. And the talk title comes from the book, the Science of Mind Text, the second part, and it's about how it works. Last week we talked about the thing, and actually the way it works. I keep saying how, but it's the way it works. And it was so important that she's so connected with me, I feel, because she said, well, tell me a little more. And so I told her a little bit more about how it works through us and what keeps us from experiencing our connection with how it works, because it works through us. And what gets in our way is our beliefs. Beliefs that are held. And so packing up the house is packing up your old beliefs. Because when you pack up your old beliefs, you put them in a box and you ship them off. Because what it does is it creates a new space for new beliefs to come forward. Because it's the new beliefs which are going to set you free. Because really, you came here, I hope today, if you were inspired at all for the talk, it's really how to use the tools to change your thinking so you can change your life. That is one of Ernest Holmes' our founder's favorite quotes. And it is so true, because what gets in our way is we let life happen, life's events start impacting our thinking, and our thinking impacts our beliefs. And we can go far to the left when the heaven felt is to the right. So the encouragement today is pack up your old beliefs that no longer serve you. Ship them off somewhere, never to be seen again, never to return. So what I liked about this, the way it works, it talks about in the opening chapter, I wanted to say these to you because I think they're so important. This particular chapter, by the way, is only 5 pages. Only 5 pages, and yet I think it's the crux. It's really the meat of the belief system, how it works. And it's all based on belief, and it's all based on what you see and you don't see. Isn't that amazing? We trust what we think we see much more than the unseen. Now you notice I said think, because what we know is our perception even colors what we see. It distorts. We bring all of our old filters from the past, and even when we're looking at it. So the idea is to let go of all that, because it's the unseen. So today I'm going to be talking about the invitation to let go of the concept of God, which is outside of ourselves. So for many of us, we try to practice that. Notice I said try, because some of us forget when we get faced with a crisis or a dilemma. We go to a help me God. And the help you are waiting for is you. It is within you. It's within your thinking. And when you know that you are connected to the power, to the thing that is that spiritual essence that I talked about last week, when you know that, you know that you are powerful beyond belief. And then we can go through life reacting, or we can react intentionally. So this year, the theme is to live an intentional life. To do that, we have to think about our intentions. And if we think about our intentions, they're kind of like guideposts or maps. And just like an airplane that flies from New York to LA, it does not fly in a straight line. There is weather, W-E-A-T-H-E-R, that moves it off course from side to side, ups and downs. And sometimes there's a downdraft that just drops it, right?
Yes.
That is our life. If we have the intentions, they're the guideposts that get us back on course. If we sit down with our intentions, and I'm a big believer that we write our intentions down. I write my intentions down at the beginning of the year, and then every month, at the full moon, I write them down again. I don't write the same ones. I write the ones that are impacting me right now, because what I know to be true is that I am a powerful manifester, because I believe this is how it works. I believe that you can believe that if you don't already. That you can manifest what you want. But you do it by intentions. You don't just say, okay, show up, because nothing knows what to show up. So you get the race consciousness of the world showing up on your doorstep, and it's a race consciousness that you do not have to buy into. You do not have to buy into that which everybody else says. You know your friends are always giving you the best advice in the world. It is always not the best advice for you. It may not even have worked for them, but they're willing to share it with you. So the invitation is, know that God is within you, the infinite, whether you believe it's God, or you believe it's a higher power, or you believe it's a divine, or whether you believe whatever you believe, it is within you. So what Ernest Holmes says is, Spirit, in this chapter heading, Spirit works for us by working through us. Universal mind or Spirit is God. Because there's a lot of talk about the one mind. And if you read the Science of Mind text, sometimes you have to read it 3 or 4 times to understand what universal mind is. But it's the one mind. It's the one mind of the divine creator. It's the one mind of all that there is. It is all that we are already contained within. We are of this one mind, and we can tap into it and use it. That is power. That is power. But you have to have the belief. It is like, you know, did you really believe that these lights are turned on by an invisible power? Is electricity visible, other than when you touch it in an arc? And how many kids have done that? Back in the days when there were bobby pins, I was a kid and I was sticking my mother's bobby pins in the socket. It did not curl my hair. It did arc. Electricity is invisible, but it works. It turns on the lights, it makes the sound system, it plays this. God is like that. It's invisible. Microwaves. I used a microwave this morning to heat up my coffee. It's there. Do you know how it works? I think it runs our cell phones. Sometimes. When it says no cell coverage. Or depending on what carriers. But you don't see that. You don't see radio waves. And yet you know about AM and FM because that's the bounce. If you could see the bounce, you would know that. But it's there. There are so many instances of invisibility which you take for granted. You don't even question it. And yet 100, 200 years ago, it would be witchcraft if you said it could have happened. You'd have been burnt at the stake. Because fire they could see. But it's the invisible power of God, of the divine, that's within you that you can absolutely operate. So that's what this is about. This is how it works. It works because of you. It works because of your belief system and how you feel about it. So one of the other things I had to do, and I'm hoping I put it here. Oh, yes, it's here. Good. The Science of Mind. I love this book. Many of you already know that. But for today, the writing is about desires and expectations. For those of you who read it, you already know that Ernest Holmes is quoted in it by saying, faith in God and in ourselves should be consciously generated. Consciously generated. And Margaret Stoltz writes these this month, and she said, one motivation, power in our thoughts is desire. And I agree with that. There is no mover or shaker in our lives that has so much charge as wanting to do or have an item, a status, or knowledge. It's desire. It gets us out of bed in the morning. It sends us to further our education. It causes us to reach further than we are now. That's important. Desire is important. But there's a damper. For those of you who remember, they used to put governors on cars and trucks when they didn't want to travel them too far. That means they could not exceed the speed limit. We put governors on our lives, and that's what the expectation is, because the other variable is expectation, which may or may not act as a good partner to our desire. There's a plus and minus to it. Not everything is good, not everything is bad. So we need to ask, does my expectation uplift my desire, or does it crush it? Am I at war with myself over what I want and what I believe I can have? Many of us, what gets in our way is this worthiness thing that came from some time long ago where we don't think we deserve it. And sometimes, if you ever want to find out that's operating, look at what you want in your life that you feel you do not have, and look at the underlying reason why you might believe that you do not have it. And quite often is, you can dream up, you won't see it necessarily as worthiness because you have all these excuses which camouflage it. Oh yeah, well there's not enough, you know, I know that this person deserves it more, or whatever, I almost said baloney, whatever stuff you put up there to camouflage it. Your ego is an expert at camouflaging your real beliefs and thoughts. But until you can unearth what your real belief is, you never really can heal it. And until you can heal it, you're never free. So the idea is, let your beliefs come up. And those that are no longer useful, pack them up. Ship them out of the house. Get some new beliefs into your house, because you're the vessel. You're this vessel of the divine. You are this unique expression. It's only you that can really express the divine God in your unique way, with your unique qualities, with your unique experience. So the way it works is, it's a common sense to recognize that what the law does for you, it must necessarily do through you. The gift of life is not complete unless it's accepted. That's the other part of the equation. Many of us are reluctant to accept our good. And you think that's so easy, but it's not. But Ernest Holmes used to say, no gift can be given until it's accepted. But it is our thought, and it is how we think, and that's the reason why I brought this other book. I don't know if any of you have. Asking It Is Given. It's by Esther and Jerry Hicks. It's Learning to Manifest and Desire. You can see, I tend to read a little bit. All my little markers. But I thought particularly, I like this because what it does is it shows that this is a textbook that was originally written in 1926 and then rewritten in 1938. And this is the 1938 version. This was written in 1998 or something. There's it's the same stuff. There's nothing new, really. All the great philosophers are saying the same thing, and what I like about this in chapter 6 about the law of attraction, you are the most powerful law in the universe. You get what you think about, whether you want it or not. Think about that, because once in a while that's where I go. Something happens to me, and I start thinking of the negative consequences. Why? Absolutely, I have to ask myself, why did I go there? Because I could have gone the other way. It's always a matter of choice. It's up to us. And so when you catch yourself, and that's what the consciousness is about, when you catch yourself, turn it around. There is power in your words. There is power in your thoughts. I speak the words out loud to myself because I want myself to really hear what I'm thinking. And if it's not something that's going to serve me, and I absolutely don't know it, most negative consequences I make up. I'm sure you really know the negative consequences are going to happen in your life tomorrow. We operate like we do. We're convinced that's going to happen. And guess what? You get what you think about, whether you want it or not. If you think that's going to happen, even if you don't want it to happen, guess what? Like a magnet, it comes. And there's a chapter in there that says, rediscover the art of allowing your natural well-being. Wouldn't that be a great way to be? Just know that your natural well-being is your natural gift of God. That's your natural state. And then the other thing is, there's a chapter in here, you are a vibrational transmitter. I love that, because it's like the electrical current. It says, your powerful beliefs were once gentle thoughts. Think about that. They started out probably as just a little nudging of, oh, I should do this. And usually it's about protection. It's usually about protection, which usually leads to control, because you think if you control things, everything will be all right. Because you've never messed up anything in your life. You're the perfect control freak. I know from experience. I know how that works. Letting go of control is the best thing that ever happened to me. And the longer you think thoughts, the stronger they become. So that's what it is. It's kind of like an affirmation. You do it over and over. That's why we have positive affirmations. That's why we put them on our bathroom mirrors. That's why we put them on our refrigerator. I have one on my refrigerator, which is a little mouse hanging onto a rope. And it says, tie a knot around it and hang on. Because sometimes that's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything other than let the passage of time work itself through.
No, it's wonderful.
You know? So, what I also liked is Ernest Holmes in this chapter, he said, I wanted to just make sure you heard this. The science of mind is not a special revelation of any individual. It is rather the culmination of all revelations. We take the good wherever we find it, making it our own, insofar as we understand it. Do you get that? So far as we understand it. You know, Ernest Holmes, sometimes he was a great orator. And he spoke volumes when some people could have said it in a sentence or two. But what he was trying to do is get us to understand it, I think. And so oftentimes he repeated it with maybe the third or fourth time I say it, you'll get it. And so what I have found myself, having been through this a few times, I was counting up, there was like this one chapter, and it might have been this one, I've read like 8 or 9 times. Because I write the dates down when I read them. I write the dates down when I quotes. But I start to pick away the words, because there's nuggets in the words, like this, understand them. Because what does that say? It's our understanding. The understanding is our belief, and our belief is what creates our life. So if our belief is a negative belief that does not serve us, pack it up. Move it out. Send it off. Don't send it to any of your friends. I like this. It says, the seed of perfection is hidden within. We're already perfect, whole, and complete within us. And we judge ourselves by other people, other events, other circumstances. And what we then do is we go into the misperception that we're not perfect, that there's something wrong with us. And there isn't. There absolutely isn't. There may be things that you want to do that are different than what you're doing. That's great. But there's nothing wrong, because where you are in this particular space is exactly where you need to be to take the next step. Everything you've done up until this thing, no matter how you judge it, right or wrong, good or bad, it's been perfect to bring you here. Not here to this physical spot, but here to this point in your life. Here to this point in your life, you can then choose again. You understand, you can always choose again. No is a perfectly acceptable answer. You can say no and choose again. Because when you choose again, you start creating the life that you came here to live. You start reflecting the essence of who you truly are. You are this divine, person, spiritual being, having this human experience, and you are channeling. You are the image of the divine. You are one with it. It cannot be otherwise. If God is all there is, so are you. You are with this. We are this drop in the ocean of God, Rumi would say. I love that. And just like that's our connection. All of us are drops. And when we think about this, it colors how we perceive life, how we perceive each other, because we know that we are all divine drops of God in this larger ocean. And then when you see that, you know, it reminds me of the namaste. The namaste is the God in me sees the God in you, or the God in me greets the God in you. So it's that divine connection. So it's the human condition that sometimes is the challenge, is sometimes the hurdle, is sometimes the human condition gives us a chance to decide whether we're going to react or we're going to act with intention. And it's our choice to do that which we would like to do. So let me just close. I wanted to read one other thing out of here because I think it's great. When it says, all right, well, all that's good, but what do I do with that? What do I do with this power? You said you'd give me some tools? Where are they? I want them now. I want to see them. All right, chapter 10. The 3 steps to do whatever you want to be, do, or have. These are mind-blowing steps. The creative process is conceptually a simple one. It consists of just 3 steps. Step 1, your work. You ask. You have to ask. What is it I want to do? Step 2, this is not your work. The answer is given. You ask, what is it, whatever it is. What is my next career? What is my job? What is my next relationship? What is it? What is it? Whatever it is, fill in the blank. You ask. And then you sit in the silence and let the answer reveal itself. And I forget whether it was Luke, Mark, or Matthew, whatever. One of them said, be still and let God reveal itself. So be still and let the divine answer come through. All right, step 3 is your work again. The answer which has been given must be received or allowed. You have to let it in. So you see how easy it is? Number 1, you have to ask. If you don't ask, that's what the power of intention is all about. You have to ask. The second thing is you have to listen for the answer. And you can't when your mind's running around like a hamster on a wheel. And you can't when you're telling God how to give you the answer. Because if you knew all the answers, you wouldn't be asking. So we have to allow it to be received. And we have to accept it. Thank you.